really good. The last little thing last year was a little twisted knee action that really wasn't very serious at all. Haven't had any problems with it so far this spring, and as far as the elbow and shoulder goes, everything feels very, very good.
Now I know you live out in Peoria, Arizona. It's got to be nice for you playing in Arizona this year. You signed a 2-year deal worth $10 million. I'm sure you're ready to go, especially for a bullpen last year that really struggled. They need you at the back end to save some ball games.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be nice to stay home and not have to worry about finding a house to rent for the season and get our cars out there and try to get the kids situated at school. And it just takes a lot of burden off my wife, and that's going to be very nice and relaxing for her to stay home. And as far as the bullpen goes, I know they had a rough year last year, but KT's been known to have some turnover in the bullpens, and I think some of the guys that he brought in via trade, and we got a pretty versatile guy in Aaron Heilman who can, is in competition for that fifth starter. If not, then he can definitely pitch late in the game. And Kevin Towers did a really nice job bringing a lot of power arms.
Yeah, I mean, you guys sure do. And you got a good starting rotation, too. I'm sure you've worked with some of these younger kids. Daniel Hudson, who pitched for the White Sox last year, and you got Kennedy there and Saunders. You guys are going to have a good rotation this year.
Yeah, I've seen Joe Saunders quite a bit when I was in Seattle, and, I know Ian Kennedy. He's a guy that really knows how to pitch. And, Daniel Hudson had a great year when he got traded over here to the National League. And so far this spring, I don't think he's disappointing. His stuff looks electric. And there's definitely some competition in that rotation with, Galarraga and Zach Duke, Heilman, Barry Enright. There's definitely going to be some competition. So, the manager's going to have some tough decisions.
And you're talking about the manager, Kurt Gibson. Your first impressions of him taking over the job this year?
My first impressions of him is he's definitely running a very good spring training camp. He's a proven winner. He's won it in more than one place. He's put together a tremendous coaching staff, basically of all-stars of the Major League. He's the kind of guy that wants to win at all costs, and, losing really isn't an option. He's a very good motivator. And, so far he's done some things to bring people in to talk to us about, motivation and mental toughness. He brought the Navy SEALs in to speak to us for about an hour and a half one morning, which was unbelievable. So he's definitely all in.
And we hear he's kind of, I don't know if strict's the right word, but he's made some new rules around the clubhouse, according to some articles I read from the Arizona Republic and various sources, that, he doesn't allow cell phones before games and the computers and Twitter and Facebook and that kind of stuff. Is that true?
I think anytime you're getting close to that, half hour, 45 minutes before a game, I'm not sure that stuff's really even necessary.
I agree.
Yeah, you shouldn't be on the phone. You shouldn't be surfing the web. You shouldn't be tweeting about what's going on in the clubhouse. It's time to get mentally prepared for a 9-inning ball game. With the grind that we go through playing 162 games, you can't really have distractions like that. Cell phones going off while guys are trying to get their mind right.
Now, you grew up in Trenton, Michigan, pitched at the University of Michigan. Take us back to your days with the University of Michigan. You roomed with Tom Brady there. That had to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a great time at the University of Michigan. It's a place I hold dear to my heart. Met my wife there. Tom Brady lived down the hall from me. The guys that I played college ball with are still my best friends. I had a chance to sign out of high school, and I don't think you could put a dollar amount on the relationships and the experience you have going to college. And, like I said, Michigan has always held a dear place in my heart and always will.
Yeah, we're actually located here in Toledo, Ohio, just about 40 or 50 minutes from Ann Arbor. And we got a lot of Michigan football fans up here that were disappointed with these last couple seasons, but Brady Hoke coming in, I'm sure you're a Michigan football fan. The future looks bright for the Wolverines.
It does. I think they definitely hired the right guy for the job. He's very passionate, not only about football, but about the University of Michigan. It's unfortunate for what happened with Rich Rod. I'm sure there's not too many fans out there that really didn't like watching his offense run when it was running on all cylinders. It was definitely a fun offense to watch, but unfortunately the defensive side of the ball kind of got pushed to the back of the pile. And I think that's where Brady Hoke is going to have his biggest challenge, but that's pretty much what he's known for. He's a defensive-minded guy, and offensively, he's got all kinds of weapons at his disposal. So it should be a fun and interesting year in Ann Arbor this year.
And JJ, leading up to this interview, I was watching some videos of you on YouTube, and back in your days with the Mariners, you would get pied in the face occasionally, and the best one I saw, well, you're sitting at your locker, and you tell the reporters, make a wall, watch out for me, and out of nowhere comes Mark Lowe, hiding in your clothes in your locker. I mean, I thought that was pretty sweet. Gets you right in the face.
Yeah, that was the only time I've got pied in the face.
Oh, seriously?
I was always the one doing the pieing, so I'm very conscious of my surroundings as I still am today. And, I'm not exactly sure how he got in there, but he got in there, and, hats off to Mark Lowe, because that was one tremendous effort.
I know, even watching the video, you don't even notice he's in there until he jumps out. I mean, he did a great job with that. But going now with Arizona here, like I said, you live in Peoria, you're playing for the team that, it's probably a 20, 30-minute drive to the ballpark every day. I understand they got a new spring training complex. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm not really sure that there's words to describe how nice this facility is. Our locker room, clubhouse, whatever, is probably nicer than 90% of the regular season Major League clubhouses in baseball. And, our weight room is top of the line. We have a whole floor of, free weights and all the weightlifting things. And then you go up the stairs and there's a loft overlooking the weight room of cardio facility.
Oh, wow.
And then it's, from floor to ceiling windows, just overlooking all the mountains in Arizona. It is breathtaking. And then, obviously the brand new playing, practice fields, and the stadium is top of the line. They didn't cut any corners, that's for sure.
I actually had a chance to be out in Arizona last year for spring training. I watched the Reds at Goodyear, and it's beautiful out there. Sedona, all the areas around it are just great tourist attractions. But the air's a little thin up there. From what we've heard, a lot of pitchers talk about that, complain about it a little bit. I'm not sure it's a huge factor. In your opinion, do you think that's a factor? How thin the air is? Does the ball fly a little bit more off the bat up there?
I'm not really too sure. I've never been a guy who blames the surroundings. I always blame it on the pitch selection, pitch location. So I think no matter where you're playing, if you're able to control your pitches and put them where you want to and change speed, you'll have more success than failures.
And I guess just looking at the NL West this year, I mean, you guys look like you're going to have a pretty good team. A lot of people forget this Diamondbacks organization has won a lot of games in the past. They're only 3 or 4 years removed from a playoff berth, and they still got some really talented outfielders in Upton and Young in center, some good infielders, good catcher, and things like that. But you look around that division, Colorado's sharing your spring training site with you. I'm sure you've seen those guys, Tulowitzki and Cargo and Ubaldo, those guys lighting it up down there. But you look at the division, San Diego had a great year last year. How do you think your guys are going to fare this year in the West?
I think it's pretty wide open right now. I think I'm not sure you could really count out any of those teams. I think whichever team goes out there and pitches the best and does the little things, the fundamentals, plays good defense, I think that's what's going to be the deciding factor who, through 162 is going to come out on top. I don't think anybody's really going to run away with this division.
We're talking with J.J. Putz, closer for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And, J.J., you're known for your deadly splitter. A lot of guys can't hit that pitch. Talk about that a little bit. Eddie Guardado up in Seattle, a lot of people forget about him, too. He was a heck of a closer for many years up there with the Mariners. I understand he taught you that pitch?
He did. It was in spring of 2006. I was throwing a split finger that I had kind of worked on towards the end of the year in 05 that really didn't do a whole lot. And, Eddie just asked me, we were playing catch, and I was pitching that day, and he said, "How are you holding that?" I showed him how I was holding it. He kind of turned the ball like a quarter turn in my hand. Didn't really have any seams on the ball anymore, and I just started playing catch with it, and it felt really good. And so I took it into the game that afternoon and had success with it, and pretty much been running with it ever since.
And now you're known for your control too. Last year you were right at the top of the American League, and based on balls to K's ratio and things like that. And I mean, you are very good, you don't walk a lot of hitters at all. Is that something you take pride in, that you try to throw a strike every time you pitch the ball?
I take a lot of pride in not walking guys. I think, especially pitching late in the ball game, anytime you're giving guys free passes, that's never a good thing. And I'm very big on just trying to get ahead. Control both sides of the plate. Once you get ahead, that hitter's kind of in a defensive mode, and then you just try to expand the strike zone. And that's where the splitter comes in. You try to expand the strike zone, get him to chase something out of the zone.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I really commend that throwing strikes. I'm a Reds fan. Don't hate me for it, but like I said, I was in Goodyear last year, and our closer, Cordero, I mean, I love the guy. He's done some great things, but he walks a lot of guys, and, you know, I've bitten a lot of nails over the years watching him in the ninth inning, but you're not like that. You nailed it down pretty good. And anything else, JJ, before we let you go? We're up here in Toledo just chatting with you for a few minutes. Anything you'd like to add? Not sure if you have a website or something you'd like to plug before the season gets started.
I don't really have a website or anything. I enjoy the occasional tweet on Twitter. It's JJP2012. I know I'm giving away two tickets to opening day in Arizona. I haven't figured out the contest yet, what I'm going to do. Got a couple suggestions. Somebody said try to pie your friends in public.
Hey, that works.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward to people writing me messages on Twitter and try to figure out some sort of a contest that's going to be fun for everybody.
All right, JJ, once again, it's been a pleasure talking baseball with you, and we wish you nothing but the best this year in Arizona. We'll be following you all year long.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, JJ, thanks a lot. All right.
Take care.
Good night. That was J.J. Putz, closer for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he's done some great things over his career. He's been hurt at times, but really a terrific pitcher. He talked about that split-finger fastball. It's unbelievable. The way it drops out of the zone, he can throw it inside, bust a lot of bats. He's just terrific with what he does, and especially with the Diamondbacks. Let me pull up some stats here, just to tell you how bad that bullpen was last year. They were 16-32 overall. That was the bullpen's record for the 2010 Arizona Relief Corps. They were the first National League bullpen to lose twice as many games as they won since the 2004 Colorado Rockies, who went 19-39. And their ERA of 5.74, we're talking about the Diamondbacks now, was more than a whole run worse than the 15th-ranked Brewers. So they were 16th out of 16 in the National League and a whole entire run worse than the Brewers. So that bullpen, I mean, you're talking about like a minor league caliber bullpen last year with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and you're going to say minor league caliber. You know, I'm not joking. The statistics were terrible. It's like, oh my goodness gracious. I'm sure A.J. Hinch last year in Arizona was just pulling his hair out every time he put a pitcher in from that bullpen. You know, balls were flying over the wall and that thin air out there in Arizona, and the Diamondbacks were getting beat. Like, you know, and it happened a lot last year, and it was because of the bullpen. They had some good sticks. They were up in the National League in home runs with Reynolds, but they also struck out a whole lot. They really did. They struck out a ton. Kelly Johnson and Reynolds, he's out of there now. LaRoche, those guys really like the fan, but they also like to hit the home run. So look for better things in Arizona this year. The forecast, as our good buddy Mike Paddock says, cloudy with a chance of optimism. I like this team. I think they can be improved. I'm not saying they're going to win the division. Look for Arizona to compete for that third-place spot in the West with the Dodgers and the Padres. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come back, and we'll break down all of the other sports news going on today. This is Sunday Sports Social on WRSCRadio.com.